Welcome back. An Amnesty International report has highlighted the shocking state of school sanitation in KwaZulu-Natal. According to the report, around 80% of schools in that province are still reliant on pit toilets or have poor ablution facilities. This is despite the Provincial Education Department saying it's working on the issue through the Sanitation Appropriate for Education initiative. KwaZulu-Natal Education MEC Kwazi Mshengu joins us now live to discuss this. MEC, thanks for joining us. I appreciate it. So I was flying from Durban after a great holiday away, and then I get to the airport and see a headline saying this. It was a shocking reality versus my experience in your province. Why do we still have schools in 2022 with pit toilets?
It's a shocking distortion indeed, Shahan. And I don't know where these people are getting this falsified information. I've tried even to check on their site. I'm unable to see the sources which they use to generate their report. As we know, Shahan, that KwaZulu-Natal is a deeply rural province. 72% of our schools are in rural areas, the same areas that were underdeveloped by the previous regime, the schools neglected and not invested on. But over the past 2 years, Shahan, we have had a very dedicated program to eliminate improper ablution structures in our schools. In terms of the audit that we did, we identified 1,377 schools that had pit latrines and other inhumane, basically, ablution facilities. And then we started to embark on a program, including the funding that, using the funds that we got from National Food Safe Program, but also from reprioritization within the baseline of the department. Of the 1,377 schools that were identified to have these improper structures, we have eliminated pit latrines in 786 schools. And those are schools where I can take you to show you these 786. Currently, 441 are on site, and the 108 that is remaining will be done in the next financial year. So in terms of our target as KwaZulu-Natal, by end of this year, 2022, we should be done with the issue of pit latrines. So we're also shocked. Where is this report coming from?
Yeah, so it's worrying because according to Amnesty International, they've seen this. And according to the Daily News, which says that you told it you will definitely address the issue in a year, that hasn't happened. So we have two organizations, one media house and Amnesty International, saying that you haven't done much.
Well, as we'll see probably tomorrow on Thursday, Daily News will be retracting what they said, because we have confronted them to say, show us where did I say it will be done by 2021. And 5 months ago, I addressed the nation on the same issue. And I said by the end of year 2022, we should be done with the issue of pit latrines. So there was never a commitment from my side to say we will have eradicated all pit latrines by 2021. But as we'll see also from the report, Shahan, they say 80% of schools in KwaZulu-Natal. Now, KwaZulu-Natal has 6,000 schools. So if you take 80%, it means we have 4,800 schools that have pit latrines. Something that is very strange, something that has never been there. Now, we don't know where they got this information and how did they aggregate the numbers that they got to arrive to a shocking distortion that there is 80% of schools in KwaZulu-Natal. I am giving you the exact numbers that we identify 1,377, 786 have been eradicated, 441 are on the site, and we can invite anyone to visit those sites, and the 108 are budgeted for in the coming financial year.
So how many schools? How many schools have pit latrines right now as things stand? And I'm talking about pupils who are going to school tomorrow and are going to have to use pit latrines.
So what we have done, Shahan, is that in those schools that have pit latrines and dangerous structures, we have given them what is called chemical mobile toilets. So as it stands, this 441 where construction is currently taking place, as well as this 108, which is budgeted for in the next financial year. But even in those schools, we have provided mobile chemical toilets as an interim measure while we are forging ahead with the building of bricks and mortar structures as our program demands in terms of safe as well as human ablution facilities.
But the pit latrines are still in existence and are still being used by some pupils, right? Despite these chemical mobile units at over what? You said 441 and 108. So that's over 500 schools.
I can confirm that there are schools that still have these pit latrines, and our target, which we, in fact, even in my budget speech in April last year, I did indicate that by year 2022, we should have eradicated all these pit latrines. And in our view, we are on course. You know, even during the era of this difficult period of budget cuts, Shahan, we have really protected this particular project. We have had to halt other projects in order to redirect funds to the eradication of pit latrines, because we understand as a department that you can't have a school that has inhuman ablution facilities, because they actually impugn and denigrate the dignity of our learners as well as educators. So that is why we have said, even in the era of budget cuts, if there's one thing that we need to protect is this project, so that by end of 2022, we don't have such schools in the province of KwaZulu-Natal.
Can I just tell you that I think it's unacceptable that in 2022, 28 years into our democracy, you're talking to me about 549 schools, which means thousands of pupils are actually using pit latrines. Would you accept that it's unacceptable? Because it is.
I accept that it is still unacceptable. It was unacceptable then when the apartheid regime made sure that these schools are underdeveloped, under-resourced, and actually African people are subjected to such inhuman conditions. So it was unacceptable. Which is why
you should have worked harder to get it done and dusted a long time ago.
That is why now I'm talking about the period where I'm in office, Shahan, that if there's one thing that I should be judged on is the eradication of these pit latrines. And I'm saying by end of this of this year, I will be reporting to the people of KwaZulu-Natal and South Africa that KwaZulu-Natal has eliminated these pit latrines toilets.
MEC, do you have kids?
Yes, I do.
Would you send your kids to a school with pit latrines this year?
It's not an issue of me sending kids, Shahan.
No, I'm trying to show you that no parent would willingly send their child to a school with pit latrines and put their lives at risk. And you have an option. We have options because we work, we have money. But you have a duty to citizens who can't afford private schools or Model C schools to actually make sure that there's dignity when it comes to learning. And the fact that you're saying by the end of this year pit latrines will be sorted, it's still not good enough.
Shahan, I attended a school with pit latrines until I matriculated. What I'm saying now is that from our side, there is a will and commitment to ensure that what we were subjected to doesn't happen in the current generation and in the future generation. Yes, we accept that it has taken us some time to eradicate these pit latrines, but we are dealing with the history that has been entrenched for many, many years. But that is not to say it's an excuse that we are putting in place. What is important now is a demonstration not only of a political will, but a determination and practical steps that we have undertaken to ensure that our kids beyond this year do not suffer what we have suffered, particularly in the hands of the past regime.
All right, I'm hoping to speak to you at the end of this schooling year. And hopefully you're going to tell me that these 549 schools no longer have pit latrines, because I think it's important, and hopefully you can get it done before that.
I will definitely, and I would want to invite you to show you all these other places where we have successfully eradicated them. But we will indeed come back and report to the nation.